Alright, I have another review for you guys, and today I'm going to be reviewing the book Click, The Magic of Instant Connections by Ori Brafman and Rom Brafman. This is a nonfiction, and this was published in June of 2010 by Crown Business. It is 224 pages, and it only has 706 ratings on Goodreads. Essentially, this book goes through those magical or just rare occasions of where you just click with a person and you meet a person, whether it's romantic or non-romantic, and you just like become either like instant best friends with the person. You feel like you've known this person for a long time, and you just click. This kind of goes through how that happens, what factors play into that happening, what makes this type of thing happen more often, more likely to happen, and just the studies that have occurred based on this, I guess, the social phenomena that people feel. It goes through studies of like, oh, they looked at people who were best friends and they became best friends, and they actually looked at the data that what happened, and for some people it just turned out like, oh, their names are kind of close to each other on the alphabet, and it's like just because they were sitting next to each other, and that enabled people more likely to become best friends. And then they looked at people, how many similarities people have, and how a lot of these relationships evolve and grow over time, and if the connection wanes or the attributes that allow them to click initially, if those ever change. I don't really have that much to say about this book. It's essentially just a pretty short book, also pretty big letters. It was really quick for me to read. It wasn't as good as other nonfiction books on psychology that I've read before. I was seeing the other comments. It seems like it is pretty much the same structure as Malcolm Gladwell has for his books. This book just seems like it was just really for people who aren't really that into anything technical. Another thing about this book I felt was kind of weird. Well, this book is spoken in first person and in third person at the same time, and it's kind of weird because it's even weird when it's spoken in first person, but the authors are referring to each other. Like, oh, we were in the plane, Rom said this, Ori said this, and I just kind of felt that it could have been handled a little bit different. And also sometimes with the structure, it would not have a clear break when they're changing, not necessarily subjects, but the focus of the chapter. Because first it would introduce a person in a situation that exemplifies what's going to be talked about in the chapter, and then it goes to like this other stuff. We'll get back to these guys in a minute, and then they'll talk about this. It's like back to these guys, and it's kind of seemed a little bit cheesy to me. You can just make breaks. You don't need to tell the reader that you're making a transition and that you're not going to talk about some people for a while, because it's clear you're not talking about them because you're not talking about them. Yeah, I give this a 3 out of 5 stars. It's not a bad book, and it is informative, and it did give some insights. I mean, I kind of picked up this book because I kind of have experienced something like that, and you know, like that moment in that movie Step Brothers, where, you know, suddenly they just hate each other, and suddenly they realize that they have so much in common, and they're like naming things at the same time. And they have that moment where like, oh my god, did we just become best friends? Yes. And I've had that moment, and it's totally fun. I mean, like, I totally, you know, it's like, yeah, I knew what they were talking about. I had a connection to the subject matter, and it is fun and interesting. And just remembering like how you click, like that moment where you realize you click with someone is a great feeling, and it is great to remember it with that person. I mean, I'm still thinking about maybe sending this book to that person. It's like, hey, there's actually science on this. And as reading, I was like, yep, check. Like, this is what did happen. This is all of the prerequisites for clicking were already there. So now it makes sense of how and why we clicked. But still, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. It just kind of was a bit awkward and weird and kind of cheesy at some parts, and I guess I'm into a little bit more technical type of books, but this was just quick and easy, especially for a person who's not too technical. They don't want like reams and reams of statistics or a detailed explanation of the psychology. This just, you know, has a paragraph and then talks about many different examples, circumstances, And that's it. That's pretty much it. So yeah, Click. That was a review. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.